Hey everybody, welcome back to Average Joe's Overlanding. Quick video for you here today. Hopefully, we were out on the trail last week and my compressor stopped building pressure. It would not build anything over about 20 psi. I was pretty sure I knew what the issue was from a previous instance, so I decided to tear it down. I am in my house, but I decided to tear it down kind of trail style and see if I could use only this little Icon toolkit from Harbor Freight. And so far it has worked out great. I'll go over that here in a few. But basically, in order to tear it down, it's pretty simple. You pull your little breather off. You should know how to do this anyways, because these little sponges that your air intake comes through need to be cleaned out every once in a while. And then this little piece comes off. There are 4 Phillips head screwdrivers underneath that cap, and then that cap just lifts straight up and off. When you go to put it on, you do need to make sure that it is indexed correctly because it has a piece that slides over this little piece right here. Once you get that cap off, there are 4 very long Allen bolts in here, and these will need to come all the way out. So you just got to keep twisting them until they come all the way out. There are little lock washers underneath of it. Once that is out, there are 2 Allens here at the top on either side, and then 2 on this side on either side. Now, my setup has the pressure switch conversion on it to make sure that it will not overpressurize and hopefully prevent what happened from happening. It's a pretty simple fix, but I'm going to go ahead and repair this real quick. I'll show you in a still photo, but not sure if you can see down in here. You can see how that one is clear. There's nothing in that one. And then this one, I'll show you in a still photo, but there is a little piece of rubber in there from the O-ring. We'll get this torn apart and then I'll show you how to do that. So when you take this apart, once you get those 4 Allens out, it basically lifts straight up and off. Now, if when you go to lift it off, this whole piece of the piston jug comes off with it, it is not a big deal. You can just set it to the side, basically just make sure which way is up. And then as it goes back together, you can just very gently place it back over the top of the piston and slide it down. It's not, compression fit or anything like that. It'll be very simple and it'll all line up when you go get ready to put it back together. So the next thing that we need to do, if you can see, there's a seam right here is kind of an outer shell, and then right there is an inner shell. We have to separate these two. Now there is some gasket maker in between here, so I'm going to use my pocket knife and kind of run around the edges of this and see if I can break that seal, and then I'll use a small flathead bit and see if I can pop that loose. So I'll get that undone and I'll be right back. We've gotten the 2 pieces separated here. You can see here are the intake reeds and here are the exhaust reeds that were underneath of this piece. So this little seal in there is what I had to break. Now my compressor's been apart previously, so I have gasket maker in here. You should have a little rubber seal in there. I'll show you the gasket maker that we'll use to put it back together. It doesn't take a whole lot. Definitely something you should have in your truck anyways, or your rig rather. But basically the way that your compressor works, if you aren't familiar, is air comes in through this top as it's sitting on top here. Air will come in. As the piston goes down, it allows a lot of air to draw in. As the motor turns and the piston goes back up, that air can't go back out of the reeds on the intake side, so it's forced out of the exhaust side here, and that seal is what allows it to build pressure. So what I say on those reeds is obviously once the air comes down and these reeds are pulled open, if you can see it here, these are just kind of spring steel. When they are pulled open, it allows air to pass by, and then as it goes up and it's pushing against it, these close and the air will follow the path of least resistance through these holes and it comes out those reeds. Right here is our problem. See how that O-ring sitting in there is bulged up? That is basically allowing this reed to sit open so the compressor can never build pressure. So we'll take this screw out and we'll set that O-ring back in there. I'm going to put a little bit of probably gasket maker in the bottom of each of these to make sure they're held in, because this is now the third time this has happened to me, and hopefully that will remedy the problem. Get it all sealed back up, put back together. Now, these little reeds, I have heard of folks on the intake side of these having these break before, because they do obviously flutter quite quickly. So I don't know if you can tell, but this is actually a little piece of shim stock, shim gauge, whatever you want to call it, feeler gauge. And these are a 8 thousandths, so 0.008 piece of feeler gauge, and then I just trimmed it to match the other one, and it worked out really well. So feeler gauge is something that if you don't keep in your rig, you probably should. The other thing to always definitely keep in your rig is some sort of RTV silicone gasket maker and a wire brush, just to keep things cleaned up. So let me get all this cleaned up. I'll get this glued back down in place, and we'll get ready to reassemble it. So we've got our reeds set back down in place. It looks like what was going on is they were actually getting a little bit hot, and when they would get hot, this metal under here would get hot, and they were kind of sticking to it. So not only did I put a little RTV under there and glue it down, but I also just put the smallest just wipe of oil on it to kind of hopefully keep them from sticking to it and hopefully prevent this from happening in the future. The RTV, what I was talking about, is this gasket maker, and I'll show you the gasket maker in a second, but basically it doesn't take a whole lot, and this looks extremely rough. You can see it out in open air here, and that's intentionally because I only want it to stick to that side of the compressor. I don't want it to stick to this piece anymore, so that it's easier to get apart. Remember, it's not a gasket, or it's not sealing the two pieces together. It's just a gasket to keep air in, so it's not as important. This is what I used. It is Ultra Black Permatex gasket maker. This is one I happen to have in the house. They make really small, like half-ounce containers of it. They're like $3.50 at your local parts store. I would highly suggest keeping some of this in your vehicle. It's used for all kinds of great things. So we're going to start getting all this put back together. Show you a few things along the way. We got the compressor all finished, but I wanted to take a minute and talk about this little toolkit. So it's made by Icon. Pick it up at Harbor Freight. It is like 45 bucks, and honestly, it is pretty awesome toolkit to have. So pretty small, compact, you can see. I mean, my hands aren't very big. It's maybe 1.5 inches thick, I don't know, 4 inches wide, 2 inches long. Nice little clasp, slides to the side, open it up, and it's full of 1/4 inch bits. So the ratchet itself here has a locking swivel head. So it's got a piece here you can index, and it'll lock in multiple different positions all the way back to 90. It does go 180 degrees, so you can go in either direction. It is reversible, so you can go one way or the other. And it also has a little thumb screw here, so if you want to get down on something there. There is a bit part in the bottom of it, of the ratchet, as well as the bits can go directly into here. So you can insert a bit right here, and you can see it does not push all the way through. You can put it in the back end like that. And actually we'll just leave that one in there like that. And then you also have the extension. Now the extension is kind of cool. As you spin it around here, you'll see that one of the ones, see if I can get in here close, you can see those little dots on it. And then you'll notice a dot on the head here. If you line those two sets of dots up, then when you go to insert this in, it'll actually slide all the way through and it'll turn it into a T-handle for you. You can still utilize the ratchet, so you can have another bit like this in this configuration like you saw that I was using earlier. So you can have it like this, use your ratchet here, go back over to your screwdriver, real easy. You can also go out, it does have a little piece for it to lock for just an extension this way, or you can take it and insert it like this for an extra long kind of screwdriver to get down in places. The nice part about this head locking like this is you can actually turn this, get a finger in there, kind of get some extra torque. This tool, all the bits included in it, I believe the ratchet itself also is lifetime warranty through Harbor Freight. I don't know 100% on the ratchet, but I do know all the bits are lifetime warranty. And as far as the bits go, let me get these put away here real quick. So as far as the bits go, you have two different flathead ones. These are all Torx. This is 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then 10, 15, 20, 25, 27, 30, and 40. And you can see starting at 10, they are the security Torx. So nice to have that set. On this side, you have a 1/4 inch socket adapter. And then you have your metric Allen keys. This is 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and all the way up to 8 down here at the end. And then you have two different types of Phillips from 0 up to 3. You can see that that is one style. I forget the name of it, but it's a different style of Phillips head that has the extra little piece in there. And then you also have 4 sizes of standard bits in there from an 1/8 up to a 1/4. So pretty cool little kit. Like I said, like 45 bucks. This will replace a lot of other little tools that you can keep in your vehicle, and it's just nice and compact. Everything's easy to go. So just want to show that to you real quick. Got the compressor all fixed up, waiting for the sealant to dry, and then we will test it out. Like I said, our compressor's all finished up, just waiting for the sealant to dry there in the top end. I did angle over my pressure switch a little bit. It looked like the wires were kind of binding a little bit before, so I'm going to try it in this configuration. If I don't like that, I might just punch another hole in the side over here and bring them in easier this way. So appreciate everybody watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you have any comments, questions, put them in the comment section below. And let me know if you've ever had to run into an issue like this where your compressor just stopped making pressure, or what kind of issues you've ran into with a compressor like this. You know, this is kind of a little bit more spendy on the line of the budget compressors. This one I think is right at like the 175 mark, but obviously a lot more budget friendly than if you're getting into like, you know, the ARBs and such that are, you know, 500-600 for the twin that'll put out a little bit more CFM. So let me know, comment below, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.